I got caught up again while drinking water. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fourth day of Startup Week. I hope this is one of the last events that we do completely virtually. I don't think we'll ever do completely live events or completely virtual events. If everything goes well, I think there's going to be a hybrid version. But regardless, I'm very happy to use the virtual opportunity to welcome Oğuz, who is the founder of Tarentum AI. And we will talk briefly for about half an hour, leaving some room for questions as well, on what is this next future technology, or is it like the next future technology? Is it already here? What is this thing called AI? So welcome, Oğuz. Good to have you.
Hi, Ozan. Nice to see you again.
Same here.
Yes, I'll start with a short introduction. We started Tarentum AI about 3.5 years ago. And for a while, we did kind of consulting projects in different areas of AI and help different companies with our solutions. And now we are more product oriented. We have two products in our company. One is in renewable energy sector and one is in mobile gaming. So now I won't go into much detail, but maybe it will be a good idea to give examples of where AI is used in our life today, and kind of give an overview and awareness of how it's touching our life.
That's a good idea.
Okay, so I thought we could start by kind of like a story of what we do in daily life. Like when you wake up, what's the first thing you do? Maybe check email. I can ask you for some of them. So if you check your email and you use Gmail, or something similar, AI has been already part of it, because you have spam filters. You have it tries to sort your incoming mails into different different buckets, and this is one of the oldest uses of AI. And AI is kind of buzzword. We also use more machine learning, data science in our work and in our as we work in the field. And so it uses NLP features, which means natural language processing, and tries to extract and understand from the content of the email if it's spam or if it should go to a different bucket. There's also smart replies, which you probably see, that are short replies that are generated based on your previous behavior and from other users' behavior as well. So Gmail tries to understand and basically help you. So the general theme of I think AI is not to expect robots and things at the moment that are as smart as humans, but trying to help us in our life and make things easier. There are also smart reminders, which are that are used in emails. What's the next thing you do usually when you wake up?
I yell, "Hey Google!"
Yes. So.
And I either ask for music or something else just to kick the day off.
Yeah, exactly. So that could be to Google or to Amazon Alexa or some similar technology which uses voice recognition, first of all, which significantly improved in the last, I would say, 10 years. Maybe 15 years ago, it used to not work if people were calling banks with automated systems. It was a very difficult time. Now it's much better. And then so that's a next step. And if you go into your social media, maybe everybody is using social media of one sort or the other, either LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or many of the other ones. There are many algorithms used here. For example, LinkedIn might be using matching algorithms to recommend you jobs or to recommend you some people you should connect with. Facebook or Instagram, they try to show you relevant posts. And for these, they use, again, scoring algorithms and similar things. Advertisements, which is part of social media, tries to target you with the right advertising. And this is one of the fields we work in, specified specific to gaming. Like if you see a gaming ad, it might be targeted to you due to our algorithm.
No, it's probably because
Which
I
you
play
may-
too much Clash Royale.
maybe, but so yeah, try to basically match the people with, show them what they will enjoy. So yeah, I'm actually positive about all this machine learning AI. I think it's overall helping us and making our lives better. What else then? Maybe you need to get out and like go somewhere as you wake up, and I mean as the day moves on, and you might check the weather, which
Yep.
which fundamentally uses numerical simulations and things that are, but it uses machine learning algorithms to enhance them, to combine them, and like basically combine different techniques and different simulations to give more accurate predictions. We also have some work in this, so I'm kind of familiar. And then probably you either get in your car or call a ride-sharing app, maybe Uber or your local one, whichever is like. We have a global audience, so they might have different apps.
Exactly. Karim, probably in the Middle East.
Exactly. So there, I mean, okay, this one maybe is not so good, but the pricing models use
Yep.
machine learning models again, and you may be in search pricing or lower price, but it definitely uses these algorithms. And
Yep.
if I mean, hopefully there's a car near you because the drivers were guided to be in a location near you
In the,
because the
yeah,
demand
exactly.
prediction algorithms work well. And so how does the day move on? As you said, like if you turn on the music, Spotify will show like recommend you music. If you watch a movie in the evening, Netflix will use recommended systems to recommend you movies.
When I order food, it prioritizes things that are interesting.
And they work to various degrees of, I would say, like some of them work really well. Like I have seen books and, for example, Medium suggested me many good articles that I really like found very useful. So these are all working to a certain level. And I mean, in the future, things will just get better. I think that's kind of my, it's kind of like a typical day.
Like, should we, like, there's so many things that you mentioned, and it's great that we start with the story. Like, this is the real life person. It's not like a geek living in San Francisco's life. It's a normal life, maybe except for the ride sharing in Turkey, which doesn't work. But maybe Bitaxi uses them to call cabs. I don't know. I hope they do. When we look into these things, all of them are powered, especially after the smartphone revolution, social media, maps, algorithms, and everything that comes. Like, the phones got smarter, and there's a worry that we got dumber. Like, we got more stupid because we're delegating a lot of these decision making, a lot of these thoughtful processes to machines to be made for us. When do you think it's a good thing necessarily, and when do you think there's potential for misuse? I mean, I'm sure you also watched the movie Social Dilemma, that kind of puts a light on how Facebook knows you better than yourself in most cases, knows you better than your friends, your family, and everybody else that are human. And this artificial thing can predict what you will be doing. And there's always this dilemma about, is it net good for the humanity in general, or where should we get cautious?
I think I'm more on the optimistic side here. It's kind of a personal kind of like a opinion, because like I don't mind if I'm looking for a flight to, let's say, I don't know, like Italy. I mean, not now because it's COVID if you don't fly, but and then I start to get recommendations about like my destination.
Italian food.
Yes, so I don't mind it. I think it's better than getting random advertising or random things. But then some people, of course, value their privacy more. I think this will be more of a like policy issue, and we already see that like the governments in Europe, in US, are taking this very seriously, and it will be very interesting to see how this evolves. And it will actually affect how AI is used in our life. It will affect all these. I mean, even self-driving cars. So the technology is going to get there, I think. I mean, maybe not in Istanbul because the roads are like, even humans can't drive in some roads.
Yeah, exactly.
But on highways in the US where the roads are more regular, it will. I mean, it's already being tested actually in many places. So there also like policy becomes significant. Like if there's a crash, then who is to blame? And like all these, the science technology will not be the decisive factor. It will be policy, I think.
Yeah, everything. It's a really good segue. People will decide how much they will include AI and how much of data privacy they would like to opt in or opt out. I mean, this will be available. It's already available in Germany and other European countries where, like search engine optimization or search engine companies, you may ask to be delisted to be unsearchable, and they will have to prove that they deleted everything they know about you.
Exactly.
And these are really important aspects of getting AI into our lives. But when you look into, I mean, I'm a huge fan of philosophy and science fiction and everything around it. And what is the most science fiction-y thing that people are afraid of in AI? When you look into Star Trek or Star Wars 20 years ago, most of the things that are there now is in our hands, in our life. What is the next thing that you think will come to our lives that's kind of, wow, I've seen that in a movie or I've seen that in a science fiction?
For me, they are not so scary, and like a sentient, like something that can think on its own and act and make decisions, kind of like Terminator style, like scenario. I think that's too far for now. I mean, it will eventually happen, but it's very far. And like all the experts in the field that are working at like great companies, they all think the same, because they see how far we are from such a scenario. So right now, when we say AI or machine learning it's basically doing one task which is well defined. It learns to do that using data mostly, and gets to do it as well or better than a human. But it doesn't really know what task to do, or it doesn't know. None of these algorithms can decide what to do or have goals, or I would say they don't have consciousness, and that's kind of a strange term. But so I'm not really worried about such a scenario either, not in our lifetime, I think. And hopefully, by the time that time comes, we will be engineering things and putting the right rules in place so that kind of we have enough safety checks that it will not happen, or it will happen in some controlled way.
Yes. I mean, a lot of people criticize startups, especially working in AI, telling them they are costing jobs. Like they are getting people off the jobs and enabling machines to do most of the jobs. And I don't think that is necessarily true in most of the sectors. These are things that humans are not good at. Like making predictions, long-term predictions. Humans are terribly bad at making predictions. And we have seen over and over in human history. And machines are much better because they are not sentimental. They can analyze a vast amount of data, and they can make tests, and they can run simulations. Those are the things that are helping us live a better life most of the time. What would be your take on the criticisms that AI will take over a lot of jobs that will not be replaced by others easily?
I think it may take some jobs, and actually, this is a topic also like often discussed in different conferences and things. I was at a conference at EPFL where Kasparov told that he was the first person to lose his job to AI because he was the most famous chess champion, and but he didn't mind it. I mean, he was now giving lectures about AI. He went and learned about it, and
he's super positive, and he's saying, let AI do what they're doing best and let human do what they do best. So he's in the hybrid mode, like let's use
exactly.
AI and enhance our ability as humans. I think that's a pretty good middle ground to work at.
Yeah, I think we should all feel the same. And anyway, we don't want to do. Most people I know doesn't like repetitive jobs, so this will let you, they cause you to get distracted, make mistakes, just like you said. The machine will do what you are told to do, maybe better than you, and it will not get tired. It will make the optimal decisions over and over again, and you will be kind of have more time to be more creative and to contribute in another way. So I don't see it as a threat. Maybe for some jobs, but for overall, we will have just different jobs.
Yeah, and probably people will have more time to play games, which helps Tarentum's business model as well in a way.
Yes.
So how do you help the gaming companies? What's the number one thing that the gaming companies need tools like Tarentum, especially when we need this entertainment becoming mobile, on the go, immediate, and the hyper casual is here to stay for a very long time?
Yeah, I would say there's several things. Actually, game is kind of a nice place for AI because it's virtual. So in real life, it's difficult to have robots that do everything and like Terminators. But in the game, it's a very it's a virtual environment. So all the rules, all the physics, and you can simulate it. So one thing you can do is bots for the game. So whatever game you have AI playing against you or playing with you, or other characters in the game. So we had some experience in that, but our main focus is actually targeting marketing optimization of the games, because the gaming industry works with you have to acquire users and you have to basically make money from them by in-game spending or by showing them advertisement again. And if you pay the right amount of money to the right people and with the right targeting, you are profitable, and you can move on to making better games and be successful. That's what everybody wants. Even if the game is good, if it's targeted to the wrong people and loses money, then most likely it will look unsuccessful. And I think that it will be bad for everyone. So we want the companies that are producing good games to be successful. And here we help with all these decisions, like the LTV prediction, which means lifetime value, like which users are likely to spend more money or more time. And it's not just financial. To me, this means it's the people that enjoy the game. If they didn't enjoy, they wouldn't be spending more time. So, and some other more technical things, such as how to allocate your budget, optimize it, how much bid you should do for advertisement. It's basically advertisement technology. And just actually, this is a good point. Like most of the things we do is some kind of prediction, forecasting, many of these together with some kind of decision. So it's useful in your daily use case. So some kind of optimization. That might be fully automatic, or it could be with someone. It could be just a recommendation that someone may use. So that's our product. And so typically someone like a marketing person in a game company would spend a lot of time doing this with they may use tools, they may use Excel, customize all these things. And with our tool, they will save a lot of time. So they can focus on making better videos, better creatives, think about the game itself. And we kind of save them from all this effort and give them a good solution.
I think the critical thing is actually time in multiple aspects. Like AI will help free time from mundane tasks.
Exactly.
Will free time of technically able people to focus on more important things. Will create more time for normal people who are not necessarily AI technicians or people in the field to actually have more time to build on different parts of their life and spend less time auditing payments. I mean, one of the first things that you mentioned was spam. And on the financial technology side, AI is already being used to detect fraud, to detect
Exactly.
unnecessary or unsanctioned movements of large sums of money for different causes. So AI will primarily work in the field of time generation, where we'll give it from one person to another. But on the other hand of this, do we think we will need that much time? Like, were we should we not be lazy and not worry about this? Or like, what's the social aspect that you're an optimist, which is great. But
Exactly.
what are the things that you're most optimistic about the human intelligence versus the artificial intelligence?
I think we will be more creative. I think when people, instead of doing mundane tasks, as you said, they do what they enjoy. I think they become more successful. They become more creative, and I mean, it's even not maybe possible to predict what they can come up with. But yeah, on certain aspects, so I'm hopeful in this way. I don't know if that was it wasn't a very specific answer, but
No, it's a great one. I mean, I like the optimism on this because when you go to science fiction or lots of I'm driving a lot between Istanbul and Izmir these days, and I'm listening to lots of science fiction and philosophy debates and lectures. And most of the people who are well versed in the historical side of things and the predictive side of things are claiming it's too soon to be pessimistic. We haven't seen
exactly.
many things that are disrupted, except for a few cases where the stock market, like the artificial intelligence, robo advisors, were triggered for one reason or another. They just get into a sell craze and created a lot of issues. But other than that, there's not many debatable negative side of things. And here's another question that came: do you think like this optimism will prevail, especially for startups? Will we see more startups in AI? Did it become a buzzword? Like, I didn't see any startup not saying AI for a very long time. Everybody's saying AI. How much of them are like real AI?
Yeah, that's a very good question too. I think, like more in the beginning, when we started Tarentum, we decided our mission was to do AI consulting and find the right products. So that's not very common. I would say most startups should be AI powered if it's necessary, but that also shouldn't mean that they should start with the most advanced algorithms. So start with simple, maybe even like most like rule-based systems to see, basically use AI or machine learning where it will add value, where you will be more efficient in whatever product you are building or whatever service you are providing. And I mean, there are some cases where maybe you have the resource to do so, but you don't even have to have a like 10, 15 people machine learning data science team in the beginning. Like start with what's available. The industry is like continuously, making available great algorithms and different libraries, different tools. Start with them. Uh, you know, you don't need to be have a research team.
Yeah.
When you are building a product, you have to use what's available. I think to begin with.
All right. So, for any startup, do you think there is a way not using AI? I mean, I don't think
Huh.
a startup will have a technical advantage if they're not building on data, to say the
Exactly.
least.
Yeah, data. Actually, that's a great point. Like data, you have to. even if you don't start with some advanced AI algorithm or some team, you have to, I think about your data, because eventually that will be your advantage and you'll be able to be more efficient, use it in better ways. That's nice. Yeah, so data is extremely important, I think. And yeah.
So, if you were to start all over again, Tarentum, I know you just fundraise and you're in the middle of this great journey, but do you think there are some places where you would be more focused on, uh, like this national boundaries that countries are trying to put in data protection and privacy are becoming, from one perspective, cumbersome for some startups. From another, is very liberal and not very protective for consumers. Where do you? I mean, you're dealing with this day to day, like as a
Yeah.
startup building on data. Where do you draw the lines between acquiring data and privacy?
So yes, this is changing actually rapidly with iOS 14.5. Like Apple changed the rules a little bit. So actually, you don't need personal data like in every use case. For example, if we are trying to predict some behavior, like for some patterns of users, what they purchase or what they prefer, we don't really need to know like who that person is. I'm going to go back to gaming, for example. If I'm trying to learn from people's past games how to play a game, I don't need that person's name or anything to identify. They can be anonymous. So most of our cases are such cases. Or yeah, I mean, we basically have to work within what the company policies, what the law allows. But I don't see it as a big. I mean, it is a. We have to adapt, and we have to. It makes our lives difficult in many situations, but
Yeah,
I mean that's life. We tackle
adapt.
it, and yes, we do the best algorithms and decisions with the data we have, and
And
respect people's privacy.
yeah, and I think people are afraid because they don't understand this anonymity of data. They think, oh, Google and Facebook and all the others have access to our data, and they do this with our data, and they do that. But then, yes, they use the data that you provide them to show you something, but they don't necessarily know exactly who you are. And of course, there's a lot of debate like where to draw the line in that one. But learning to improve, drawing data to learn to improve algorithms and actions is not the same as like exploiting your privacy. So those things are not mutually inclusive to each other. And I think as
I
more
agree.
people like you create startups that create benefit for industries, like digital industries, digital creative industries, as more people explain what are the good sides of and the daily use cases of artificial intelligence and machine learning that is already in use without people being super aware of it, I think people will be less skeptical and within limits of caution and within limits of curiosity. That everybody has to be curious on what's being used, what's been not. I think we have a bright future about the industry itself. Maybe as one last question, as a founder is always looking for talent, um, where do you see the gaps in the talent in the AI industry? Is it in engineers? Is it in data scientists? Is it in hardcore coders? If you are looking for people to hire, what are the skills that you require? What are the skills that you look for in people?
I would say all of them. Like all these. I mean, it's actually really not easy to kind of to grow your team, and I think this applies to all geographies. Unfortunately, like I heard the similar things from like Istanbul in the US, in London. There's very high competition for data scientists, machine learning engineers, software engineers, all of them. So actually, yeah, this is a difficult thing, and I mean, as a founder, I network in conferences. We had like referrals from people that are in our company. If you keep your employees happy and they can grow themselves and give them opportunities to kind of explore, improve themselves. Everybody that basically wants that. You kind of, it gets heard. You get referrals. People want to come to you, and that's how we were most successful in how we hired most of our employees.
So maybe as a good advice to the young people, youth that are listening in early ages or even university ages, does degrees matter to you or the skill sets matter to you when you're looking to hire people?
To us, it's skill sets, not the degree. And especially AI data science is it comes from a variety of degrees. Like you have various, like actually people with physics degrees or mathematics degrees or software engineering degrees or computer science. Now there is also, I guess, machine learning AI degrees as well, or data science. We had people from all these fields. I'm not even talking about our software engineers and business, all this, but specific to AI, the background almost doesn't matter. And now there are very good online resources. We have seen people that just like on Coursera, like Andrew Ng has many classes. This is one great thing, I think. Like, most of the top schools in the US and in the world, they put all their classes online. So if you have the motivation and kind of a computer, then which may be difficult in some, but you can good connectivity. You can you have the resources to get better. There are Kaggle competitions, which we also saw, people improve themselves. Eventually, you have to join a company and do real projects, I think, or stay in school and in masters or PhD programs and get that experience.
Learn the traits better. So people can reach out to you through Tarentum, and maybe you're going to be flooded with young people trying to come and intern with you. So that's the caveat of calls like this. But good luck in the next few months, because now you have the funding, and now you're going to have to spend all the money and just move forward and get ahead of the competition in multiple aspects. So it's a tough journey, but fruitful one in the end, I hope. Any parting words? Any last words?
Well, thank you for the nice talk.
Yeah, thank you, Stu. Thanks so much for joining us. We started a few minutes late, so the next session will start in a few minutes. But join us in welcoming, let me make the announcement, in welcoming Ece Önal, who will be talking about SDGs and the climate crisis from the eyes of the youth. So see you in the next session, and thank you all. Take good care.
Okay.
Bye.